What is a GMO? Well, it's an organism that's been genetically modified. This means scientists combine the DNA of one or more organisms for some specific genetic feature. Usually this entails engineering plants with toxic bacteria that kill bugs that try to eat the genetically modified plant. Currently up to 88% of corn grown in the US is genetically modified, 91% of soybeans and 88% of cotton are GMO crops as well. These raw foods are then widely used in food production processes. Nearly 3 of every 4 processed foods contains at least one GMO ingredient. It's almost impossible to avoid products containing GMOs. Everything from soda and juice to canned tuna, breakfast cereal, even milk and delicious bacon can be genetically modified.
Individuals are subject to their own opinions. GMOs are viewed as helpful in supplying more than enough food for society, where others view GMOs as a threat to their health. The opinions and/or views of others may vary due to their social location, such as growing up or living in urban versus rural areas.
It means taking something that's pure in nature and in harmony and completely changing that.
They're like a pesky virus trying to get started, and the immune system kicks in and people stamp it out. And rightly so. I think it's the reason they developed genetically modified crops and food is so that they can patent it.
Such as pest resistant, disease resistant, or herbicide tolerance into plants.
I think that almost anything that has been improved or that's better or that is good has been probably altered from almost everything we use. It's taken altering it or changing it or improving it to make it better.
People in in society have a choice to pick between organic and non-organic food products. Although individuals have a choice, they are limited to what they can and cannot afford to purchase anywhere from food consumption and seeds for production.
I prefer to buy non-GMO food
Why is that?
because I believe food in its natural form is better for my natural body.
We cannot find one problem as far as death or disease from a genetically modified plant.
These increases in food allergies, autism, other neurological diseases since GMOs entered the market and the food supply in the mid-90s. This is called correlative data, and some people think it's not that, what's the word? It's not that convincing.
But it definitely seems that our government makes it very hard for people to grow organically or to obtain organic seeds.
Monsanto is an agriculture company that produces most all seeds for farmers across the nation. They are known for genetically modifying their seeds for greater growth and insect control. Many people feel that Monsanto is a big corporation that is all about the profits and has the control of genetically modified and organic crops in their hands.
75% of GMOs are, I'm going to use the word manipulated for resistance to these chemicals, these herbicides and pesticides, right? The same corporation who makes the GMO makes the chemicals. There's profit motives here.
Because Monsanto is a giant, it's global, it's not just for America. You know, and a lot of countries are banning it because they don't, you know, they're not interested in changing their food.
They're meeting a need, and if the need wasn't there, they would not make any money, and if there's no money, they don't do it. That's not a bad thing. But if I create something and there's a demand for it and people buy it and I make money, then I make it. If I make something and nobody wants it, nobody needs it, nobody cares, I quit making it. I think they're meeting a need that people want, that's necessary. Therefore, they're making money, therefore, they're going to produce it.
GMOs are known for their mass production in food items. Without the use of GMOs and their ability to outproduce what organic farmers are capable of producing in today's world, the cost of living would increase and there would be less food available. In other words, demand would be extremely strong, whereas supply would be weak.
We might not be able to feed the world as we're doing right now. There would probably be some hungry mouths.
I think that it would be a starving world. I think that if not now, I think it will happen as population increases, and I think that it's going to become a necessity to do this research and to make these changes because population is growing, and I would think that the places to grow food are getting smaller and smaller. So I think that we have to create more food in smaller places, and I think that it has to be improved upon, and I think without that, I think there's going to be a lot of hungry people.
To convert entirely to, we're calling it organic, but that's just the kind of agriculture there was worldwide. It was the only kind prior to the Green Revolution, right? Post Second World War. That fed the world.
So I think alfalfa is one that you could manage, continue to manage. I mean, you could manage any of them without it because a lot of it we didn't have before. But it'd be a lot more expensive. The reduced carbon dioxide from the atmosphere was more than 21 million tons, equivalent to 8.6 million cars off the road in 1 year because we're using the biotech stuff, so we're not using as much fuel, we're not going across the fields, and that kind of stuff.
I'm willing to believe there's scientific and medical applications. I was told recently that synthetic insulin for diabetics who die without it is generated or somehow produced by a GMO organism.
You know, I believe that there's other ways to end the hunger crisis other than changing our food at a genetic level.
Do you think it has anything?
I see genetic engineering corporations on the defensive, on the retreat around the world. And because of that, I think they're fighting harder in the U.S. I think the United States is GMO central in the world.
Continue. I think it's going to grow. I think that when people want to eat, need to eat, demand food, demand a supply of food, I think that that's going to overcome anything that's negative in people's minds. I think it's absolutely necessary, and I think that it's going to become more and more necessary, and I think that people will choose eating over non-GMO foods.
After research, we have decided that GMOs are beneficial to America as far as food supply and pest control. We feel that if the organic way of producing crops were able to serve the entire United States, we would be all for it. But after studying this topic more, it would be virtually impossible to achieve such a task without pests and weeds taking over the crops. If there were a way to prevent such issues, then there probably wouldn't be such a fuss over the food that we consume.